So you have a steady flow of traffic coming into your website, but definitely not enough people are converting, and it's just not at the rate you would expect. It could be that there's a problem with your website, or you could just not be optimizing something well enough, and with a little tweak, you could really boost those sales. The only way that you're gonna figure this out is by A/B testing your website. So today, I'm gonna tell you what an A/B test is. I'm gonna walk you through how to figure out what to A/B test, show you how to set up those tests, and finally, help you figure out what winners are for A/B tests. My name's Trent Kennelly. I'm a marketing strategist, and on this channel, I talk about all the things that you can do to improve your business through marketing, sales, and analytics. So if that's exciting for you and you wanna get started, make sure that you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you're into it, comment and let me know what you think your first A/B test is gonna be before this video even starts, and let's get started. All right, so what is an A/B test? This is a very simple concept. You're taking all of the traffic that's coming to your website and you're splitting it between two different page variations. So the first one will be what you already have, so we're gonna call that the control, and the other one will be a variation. So there'll be something different about this page, and you're gonna use that to measure whether the interaction rate is better or the conversion rate is better or whatever. So let's say, for instance, that you have a current page with a CTA button at the top that just says Get Started. And you think that if you change that button to Let's Get Started, that people are gonna wanna click through more and you'll get more conversions. So then you'll have the original, your control, as just says Get Started, just like it always does. And you're gonna have the other side with only the button text changed to Let's Get Started and nothing else. And so then you send half your traffic to each and you see which one does better. If one of them does better than the other by a fair margin, then you're gonna be able to say, okay, then that's part of the problem. If not, then maybe you need to look at something else. So now that we understand what that is, let's look at what to test. Okay, so we're gonna start broadly here and we're gonna narrow down as we go. So to start broadly, we're gonna go to the Google Analytics Behavior Report. This is a report that shows you how people move through your page based on interactions. So you'll see it says first interaction, second interaction, third interaction, etc. The first interaction is whatever page they come in on. The second interaction is whatever the next page they go to is, and the third is whatever the next page they go to is after that. So let's say that they go from the home page to the About Us page and then back to the home page. That's still 1, 2, 3. It only counts forward, okay? So just because you're going back to the home page, even if you press the back button, that doesn't count as going back to the first interaction. That is technically the third interaction that that person has taken on the site. Does that make sense? So what we're looking for here is lots of people that are going to a page and then returning back to the page they were on previously, or we're looking for a lot of people who are dropping off at a page. So that's that little red waterfall that's on the right of some pages. If you have either of these things that are happening, you need to look closely at that page and see if there's something that's going on that's kind of wrong or that could be optimized here. And to do that, to really drill down, we're gonna use something called Hotjar. You could use Crazy Egg or Mouseflow as well. I like Hotjar. It allows you to report visitors. You don't get any sensitive information or anything like that, but you can watch how people interact with the page, or you can set up heat maps to really get a good feel for where people are clicking and what the majority of the actions are on the page. And if you take these two things together, the recordings and the heat maps, you can get a really good idea of how people are moving and if there's something that you think is hanging people up. So a button is actually a really good example because sometimes buttons just break. And if you don't know that the button is broken, people could be trying to click on it, they won't know, and then they're gonna leave. So this is a really highly effective tool to optimize that site and start figuring out what to A/B test. All right, so when we're figuring out how to test, we need to first talk a little bit of science, and then we'll talk a little bit of function. So when we're talking science, we need the tests to be isolated. What that means is that you need to test one thing per page variation. So just consider this. If you have a page variation where you're testing the header and the CTA button, here's the old one, here's the new one, and you only have one page variation, which one of these was the winner? Was it the header or was it the CTA button? You actually have no idea. It could be that the header is really killing it and really causing people to drive through, but the button is really doing the opposite and you're evening out, but you would never know that unless you test all these things separately. You can have two things that you're testing at the same time, but what that means is that you need 4 page variations. You need one with the old header and the old CTA button. You need one with the new header and the old CTA button, one with the old header and the new CTA button, and then finally one with the new header and the new CTA button. That's the only way that you're really going to be able to very clearly say, yes, one of these was more successful than the other. Can you test 4 things? Well, yes, but you would need 16 page variations. And keep in mind, when you get to that level of page variations, you have the same amount of traffic coming in, but they're just being split among a bunch of different page variations, which means that it's gonna be harder for you to reach statistical significance to prove that one of these was actually a better result than the others. We'll get into statistical significance a little bit later, but just understand for now that as you're thinning out the pool, it's gonna take longer to actually reach that result. Okay, so for the function, we're gonna use Google Optimize. This is a great solution, it's totally free, links in with your Google Analytics, nice and seamless solution. You can A/B test as many variants as you want, it's really, really good. I'm not gonna run through the install here, you can get that in the A/B test guide. Hint, hint, there's an A/B test guide in the description, which you can download for completely free from my website. Just check that out when you get a chance. In any case, right now, let's just go ahead and jump through a setup so I can show you exactly how to set up an A/B test through Google Optimize. All right, so we're just gonna do a really simple A/B test here. We're gonna keep it super simple, one thing that we're testing. So let's just go ahead and say on my website here, yeah, I think that we could probably do a better headline than get the most out of your marketing. So what we're gonna go ahead and do here is we're gonna go over to Google Optimize. And so we're going to start our first experiment. I'm gonna call it new headline. And it's gonna be related to my homepage. Okay, so there are a couple different variations that you can do here. There's A/B test, multivariate, blah, 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 blah. So you can do any of those you want, but let's just stick to the A/B test here. What's really cool here is that you can do A/B or ABC or ABCD or whatever, as long as you remember the constraints that I just gave you about not sending too many tests at one time because you're gonna have too few people coming to each test, okay? So let's just go ahead and do the one. So we're gonna go up here and create it. All right, so now you don't see anything. It doesn't look like much right now, right? So we're gonna go ahead and add a variant. So add variant, and I'm gonna call this new headline, done. So now what happens? Nothing happened. It created a variant, but there's no changes to that variant, right? You can see right here, it says changes 0. So we need to edit this page. And so this is gonna take us to the landing page. Now, you're gonna notice that it looks exactly like my page, except now there's some editable elements, okay? So we're here, we have these editable elements. I can highlight anything I want on my page. So I'm just gonna go here to the headline. I'm gonna click edit element, and I'm just gonna edit the text. And so I'm gonna say more marketing, less fluff, okay? So let's try that. Okay, so we got more marketing, less fluff. Now, what I'm gonna do here is I'm done with it. That's all I wanted to do. I'm just gonna save it. And we're gonna just update the URL. So it's gonna give you a page URL variation and it'll split them between the two, okay? So nothing else really to do there. We're gonna say it's done. So still more to do, it's not done. So what we're gonna do now is we're gonna go ahead and go down a little bit. And so we're gonna look at everything, all these settings here, okay? So we've got page targeting is going to the main page. So levelmeup.com for my page. It's targeting everybody who comes to the page, so that's fine. It's connected to my Google Analytics account. The objective is what's really important here. So because I have a headline, I have to think about what I want. So we could choose a custom option here, but what you need with a custom option is you need to have events set up on Google Analytics. That's a little bit of a complicated topic. We'll get into that sometime later. But for now, let's just go ahead and choose from the list. And I'm just gonna say bounces because I wanna see if the bounce rate is less than it was when I changed this new headline. Okay, so the bounce rate, just as a reminder, is the percentage of people who are coming on the page and effectively leaving or deactivating right away. Okay, so we got the bounce rate as the setup. Any other settings we need to do, we check the installation, that's fine. We're sending traffic allocation 100%. This starts on the page load because it could start on any other sort of setup as well. But if you're loading the page and you're getting one headline or the other, that's gonna be the best indication here. So we're gonna leave that just as is. All right, so I think we're done. All we have to do is click start. I don't really need email notifications, so I'll turn that off because it's just going to email me and say, hey, it's started, so we don't really need to do that. So now it has started. Let's go ahead and go back out here. And what you're going to see is there's now a few small stats here. This is just going to tell you basically how things are going, okay? So there's really not a lot to do right now. walk away from this for now, come back to it in a few days, see how it does. And if you have an improvement, then that's great. You probably need to wait longer than 7 days, like we said. All right, so there's the test. Now let's figure out how to find winners in these tests. So the first thing is wait at least 7 days. More data is more confidence in the results. So the longer that you want to let this go, the more likely you're going to be able to figure out which one of these is more successful. I would say that there's a ceiling. Probably don't go more than, I'd say, about 28 days if you have a healthy amount of traffic, but just keep it going as long as possible to really get a very confident number, because what you're looking for here is statistical significance. Statistical significance is just the indication that what you have done or what statistics is showing you is more than chance. So for instance, if you have 10 people that are coming onto your page and making a decision on each variation, that's not a lot of statistical significance. However, if you've had 1,000 people on each variation and there is a clear difference between who's clicking on one page variation versus the other, then you can probably say that there's some statistical significance there and call it a winner. You're looking for clear winners, not barely winners, okay? You wanna get a good amount of distance between one part of the variation and the other to really be able to say, yes, that is making the difference, okay? So now that you've done that, now that you have done this test, you have a really clear idea of what needs to change. All you have to do is put that variation in place as easily as you set it up with Google Optimize. You just go to your web builder and you just do it. It's as simple as that. And then after that, just keep testing. This is a constant process of improvement and constantly checking your website and all of your pages to figure out how you can keep going and keep more people moving through that conversion funnel as effectively as possible. All right, guys, so there you go. Just keep doing this. You got to keep going, keep A/B tests going all the time. It is the best way to improve your site and improve your conversion rate. If you want to understand in a little more detail things like how to install Google Optimize or how to get the most out of A/B tests, make sure that you check out my description for my guide to A/B testing, which will really help you guide your way through this process and get the most out of it. If you like this video, make sure that you like it for real. Give me that thumbs up. I love it. Make sure that you comment and let me know what you thought your A/B test was gonna be before you even started this process. And make sure that you subscribe if you're into it, and I will check you in the next one.